This isn't gonna be your clean, white, minimalist desk setup with LED lights and a $5,000 desk. This is my real home office. It's functional, but it's a little messy. But everything in this office tells a little story about myself, and it's something that inspires me. And so if you click onto this video thinking that you were gonna find your next Pinterest setup, this isn't the video for you. Each piece in this office tells a story. If you stay till the end, I'm gonna walk you guys through all of it. And my hope is that you get inspired to do something a little bit different. Above my door, when you guys initially walk into my office, I have 4 baseball caps hanging up. And baseball was a really big part of my life. And baseball taught me a lot of my work ethic. I started baseball when I was 8 years old. I played for a team called the La Vista Panthers. It was a brand new organization just starting off here in my hometown, and now it's grown to a really, really big baseball organization within our community. It's really become a pillar of our community, which is really cool that I got to play and be a part of it so early on. So the first hat on the far left I got when I was 8 years old. So the fact that it's still in some form of wearable condition is insane to me. But then also the hat next to it was the next age group up. And then eventually it got to a point to where I decided, and my dad decided, that we needed to switch teams just because we just felt like that was gonna be the best move for us in terms of where we just wanted to go and the things that we wanted to experience, you know, early on in my baseball days. And so we switched over to a team called the Papillion Predators. That was the next hat, and then the final hat was before I went in high school and started playing baseball in high school. We're so focused on moving forward in our life and chasing the new next thing that we don't ever really take time to just remember the good old days and have genuine conversations around those times. So it's fun whenever somebody comes in and they look at those and they say, oh, I can tell them about all the good times that my friends and I had when we were traveling around the States, playing in baseball tournaments and just having like the best time of our lives. The frame next to it is a frame that I just made in Canva and I printed it off, but it's one of my favorite quotes from an entrepreneur that I looked up to early in my entrepreneurial journey, and the quote is, "Win the day." And it's based off of Andy Frisella's Powerless, which is the idea that like so often people try to get so much done in a day, when the reality is that you actually get more done and create more momentum if you accomplish 3 to 5 things in a given day that will actually move you towards your goal. Because so many of us focus on answering our emails or editing a video or backing up our footage, when those aren't necessarily the things that always move the needle forward in our video businesses or in our YouTube content creation journey. And so the idea of the Powerless is if you write down 3 to 5 things that you need to get done that will move the needle, when you accomplish those 3 to 5 things, you've won the day. So it's the idea of compounding interest. I love the quote. I wanted to put it on my wall. It's been on there for years. So that frame is really old. It has tape holding it up. The glove on there, again, is a reminder of my childhood. It's my first baseball glove, but the thing just below it is actually my number from when I ran at regionals for the USA track and field. So it was a summer league organization. It was really cool. Track was a really big part of my early teenage years because it was something that I never thought I'd ever do. And it's one of the things that kind of jump-started my mantra of try everything. I never thought that I would get into doing track and field. I honestly thought it was one of the dumbest sports out there until you actually competed in it and you realize, wow, the thing that I loved the most about it, although I loved playing in team sports, was that in track and field, yes, you are competing as a community, as a team, and everyone who does well in their event does so for the greater good of the team, but you are more so competing as an individual. And it was really cool because all the work that I was putting in, yes, although it benefited the team, it was me who was getting the medal, and it was me who was, improving every day and, beating or winning or improving within my specific area of what I do. And right below those, I have my actual varsity Letterman awards. I never thought that. Honestly, the first year I got into high school, I thought that I'd letter and I didn't. I thought I was so good at sports, and it was a harsh realization of how hard I actually had to work to actually earn those awards. Because I thought, well, I think I'm pretty decent at sports. If I just get into high school and I just play and do okay, then they'll want me for varsity. when I realized the competition is way tougher in high school. And I think that that's translated into my adult life, and realizing that like life's not fair and you really have to work hard for what you want. And so those awards there are just a little reminder. I have one on my bookshelf over here too. Or just a reminder that you don't just get handed good things in life because you think you're good at them. You have to work really hard for them so that people will actually notice and acknowledge your abilities. But you're not just gonna get handed shit in life. Right above me, there are two albums. The one right over here is super important to me. When my wife and I first started dating, Ed Sheeran had just dropped his Divide album, and her and I's favorite song is Perfect. And before it blew up and became a billion view type of video on YouTube, that album right there was the album that her and I listened to literally on repeat all the time. And it was one of Ed Sheeran's first concerts that I'd actually gotten to go and see him live. Dopest concert of my life. So it's just cool. It's a nice little reminder of, you know, my early days in my relationship with my now wife. And this letter right here means the absolute world to me. So early in my career with my video business, I was really struggling with imposter syndrome. And a lot of it was to do with, one, I really didn't know what I was doing, but two, you know, I dealt with maybe one or two really terrible, really tough to deal with clients, and it just made me doubt myself. And during a time when I was just on the verge of quitting, my wife had written me a letter and left it on my desk. When I had gotten home from a wedding, it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I read it, and it just like, I broke down. And I framed it, and I put it on my desk, and I've had that now for about 3.5, 4 years. And sometimes when I'm still having a really tough day, or I just doubt myself, or I just feel like I'm not doing good enough within my work, I look at that letter and I read it. And it's just a reminder of, you know, even when I doubt myself or I don't believe in myself to the fullest extent, my wife always does. And I pray that every man finds a woman who supports their dreams even 10 times more than they support their own. That little award there, I don't know if I have it on there to feed my ego or to remind me how good things were when I started off early. But again, with video work, you know, one of the biggest awards that you can get here locally is called the Best of Omaha. And I won that in 2023 completely by like happenstance. I saw that some of my friends were running for the award, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sign up for it. And I was like, I'm just gonna like put a post on, see how it goes, and like if it goes great and I, you know, get, you know, selected, awesome. If I don't, no problem. A few months later, I'd gotten a call that we won first place, and I was like, what? Because again, like I wasn't pushing hard for this. I made a post and I sent it to one of my cousins, and like that was literally it. Our friends and our family and our clients supported us so much that they were like just voted like out of sheer will. And that was just such a really cool moment early in my business, because I was like, wow, I have the dopest friends and the dopest clients. So put that on my wall as a reminder to just take care of your clients and take care of your friends, and you will see those butterfly effects over the course of time. So just a little reminder right there. And then this little corner over here is my just fun wall. That's my fun corner. There's no real messaging behind it other than just complete self-expression and a reminder that like I am my own person, and not everyone is going to agree with or like the same shit that I like, but that's okay. That's my corner. And anyone who walks in, when they ask, I can just tell them about all the things that I enjoy in life. So I have two posters on there that I really enjoy, like the Spider-Man No Way Home, just because it brought back one of my favorite Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. And then also the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I just think that movie's sick, regardless of what people think. And I think it was a really cool concept of them, you know, transitioning between the different multiverses. And I think Marvel just did a really cool job of showing that. And Sam Raimi directed the movie, which is also the director of my favorite Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. So wanted to put those on my wall. And then I just have a bunch of old cameras that I've just collected over the past few years. I've got a picture of Infernape with one of my favorite moves that he performs, the Flame Wheel. I've got a little Pikachu on there because I thought he looked kind of cool when I was shopping in Target. I've got my first comic book I've ever read. I've got a couple plush things of Batman. I've got the Flash, which is my favorite DC superhero. I've got a Rubik's Cube because that was a big part of one of my friendships early on in high school. I had a friend teach me how to solve the Rubik's Cube, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And then I have a little deck of cards there that I found I just thought were really cool by a company called Theory 11, which was the company I bought all my cards from when I was in high school when I was performing Magic. It's a full wall, but it's got so much stuff on it and so much stuff that means the absolute world to me. Got a little desk set up behind me. I've got a Samsung curved monitor. I have that in a vertical format just because I like the way it looks when I read my emails and I do my Slack messaging with my team. And then I have my iMac here where I do all my main editing. And then just some accessories and some things on my desk that I think just make my workflow a little bit easier. Over here I've got a bookshelf that maybe doesn't necessarily fit really cohesively with the theme of the office, but it meant a lot to me because it belonged to my wife's grandma. And you know, she was a big reader. My wife and we like to read, and so I wanted it. And I was like, you know, if there's ever a day when you want to get rid of it, we'll take it. And now I use it to just hold a lot of my business books and my self-improvement books and my comic books, and then just some fun stories that I like to read. I'm super into like thriller and crime type of books. And then finally, in this corner of my office is just a little butcher block with some cheap legs I got on Amazon. I threw my iMac from 2014 on there, and that is where I back up all my footage. This is not a pretty corner, it's my functional corner. I don't spend a lot of time in there, but it's just nice to have somewhere outside of my main desk where I can throw footage on, dump footage, and it doesn't take up any of the power from my main computer. And then finally, right above that is a cube organizer. It's 8 slots, and it's not beautiful, it's not perfect. It's just nice to have a little place where I can throw things away, but I have been taking my organization very seriously over the past few months, and I've went to the extent of getting some organizing box, some masking tape, and a marker to organize all my stuff. So got a bin on there where I keep all my gun maintenance equipment, so whenever I need to clean my guns or I want to maybe change out some sights or do anything like that, I have a little box that's dedicated for that stuff, so it's not laying about in my office. And then just some miscellaneous stuff. And then I have some open topped containers on there for quick access, like memory cards, micro USB, USB Type-C, a bunch of batteries, and then the most common accessories that I use with my camera. So like for things like filming talking heads, I've got mics, I've got lights, I've got camera cages, I've got battery packs. So honestly, one of the biggest things I've learned in the past month of organizing gear is just do it. Like take the hour or 2 hours out of your day, go to Walmart, buy a bunch of cheap bins and mark them off, because when you have specifically dedicated areas for specific things, although your office will look like a tornado when you're done working in it, it makes it 10 times easier to clean your office up. So not the prettiest, but it's extremely functional, and it's made my workflow with just working and packing for weddings and setting up for YouTube videos 150 times easier. Oh, I forgot to mention the desktop. Now you've probably seen in every desk setup video those Ergon Office desks, but this is not that. Now initially I had gotten the legs and a tabletop, but the guy that I mentioned that I play baseball with, one of my best friends, Lance, him and I built this tabletop back in October of 2020 when I had just started my business. This tabletop was when he had just started his woodworking business. And so I went over to his house, we spent a day building it, he spent a day sanding it, and I've had this top since the beginning. I will run this top into the freaking ground, but it means the absolute world to me. And yeah, I feel like it's me, and I refuse to change it until I absolutely have to. And so guys, that's my entire home office. Again, it's got a bunch of things on the wall that mean the world to me. And in my opinion, your space should inspire you and not necessarily try to impress the YouTube algorithm. Mine's not perfect, but it keeps me going. And honestly, that's all that matters. I appreciate you guys, and thanks for sticking around. I hope you guys enjoyed the stories of my home office. And I hope that it inspired you to start building something that's maybe a little bit more you. and to go against what's now considered the norm.